Good morning. We got your energy stories for the first week of November 2021. The first story is something we haven't seen before out of New York State. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the DEC, nixed a controversial 437 megawatt fracked gas power plant that would have been built in Astoria, Queens by NRG. The reason? The DEC said it was not consistent with the state's 2019 Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, which commits the state to reducing greenhouse gases 85% by 2050. This was the first, this rejection, but immediately followed by another one, a plan to repower an existing 511 megawatt power plant in Danscomber, New York, for the same reason. And Kathy Hochul, the New York governor, was in favor of this and commented, "Climate change is the greatest challenge of our time, and we owe it to future generations to meet our nation-leading climate and emissions reduction goals." We'll need more renewables to fill in these gaps if these plants don't get approved, and solar will be a big part of that picture, but maybe developers are going to have to use somewhat more conservative performance estimates. Solar asset insurer KWH Analytics recently reported that the performance of U.S. solar assets against P50 estimates, those are defined as estimates of which 50% exceed the estimate and 50% are less than that P50 estimate, they have declined over the past 10 years. Data from over 350 U.S. solar assets totaling 10 gigawatts demonstrate that the average weather-adjusted performance has trended downwards in recent years. Between 2011 and 2020, operational solar systems underperformed the P50 estimates by between 5 and 13%, with performance noticeably worsening since 2016. KWH Analytics has concluded that the P50 estimates have become less accurate over time, with too much subjectivity involved, and perhaps also a greater incidence of extreme weather is affecting those outcomes. So we're going to have to be a little bit more conservative in our spreadsheeting in the years to come. Turning to transportation and electromobility, just days after Hertz had announced a plan to purchase 100,000 Tesla Model 3 EVs for its rental fleet, it confirmed it will make up to 50,000 Tesla vehicles available to qualified Uber drivers starting November 1st, today, in Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. There will be a nationwide expansion shortly thereafter. It's a pretty good deal for Uber drivers, with weekly rentals starting at $334 and then going down to $299, including maintenance and insurance. To put that in perspective, the average person leasing a Model 3 Standard Range Plus pays $1,260 down and $565 a month over a 36-month period and gets 15,000 miles a year, but no insurance. Hertz indicates that if all goes well, the Uber program could be increased threefold to 150,000 over the next 3 years. It's a brilliant way to get butts in seats. Even if the passengers aren't driving, they'll be asking drivers about the experience. So a lot more folks will get exposed to electric vehicles, and Tesla's Model 3 in particular. Also on the EV front, GM recently announced that it would invest nearly $750 million by 2025 in charging infrastructure. Well, this past week, it indicated an intent to deploy as many as 40,000 AC EV charging stations in the US and Canada, starting next year as part of its dealer community charging program. In addition to locating chargers at the dealerships, each GM dealer is going to have up to 10 level 2 chargers and the ability to install them at key locations in the local communities such as workplaces, multifamily housing, sports arenas, colleges, universities, and the like. Meanwhile, offshore, Siemens Gamesa Renewable Energy, SGRE, announced it will join with Virginia's Dominion Energy on a $200 million factory to manufacture turbine blades. These things will be over 100 meters long, and the project includes more than $80 million in investments for large buildings and equipment at the terminal. Dominion selected SGRE a couple of years ago for its $7.8 billion, 2,640 megawatt offshore wind project 27 miles off Virginia Beach, so they'll be a ready customer in the offing. And finally, not a week goes by without another hydrogen story. This past week, NextEra, in its earnings call, announced it's increasing its commitment to green hydrogen and has plans to build a 500 megawatt wind project that will supply energy to an unnamed hydrogen fuel cell company. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. Take care.